The point of my center is to make the connection between how we care for infants and the tremendous personal and social problems we have. We have a great deal of mental health problems in this country. Again, we have racism, we have violence, we have a tremendous amount of personal and social problems, and we're not making much progress. In some cases, getting worse, and again, been going on for many decades. So I'm it's doing the best I can to raise awareness about, rather than just tolerating or trying to respond to these problems after they're deeply embedded. These problems aren't accidental. They're connected to early experience. So let's take a look at the origins and learn how to prevent these problems. And this isn't going to be easy either, because as we referred to earlier, again, in general, about 1/3 of people want to avoid the truth. So, but if we can get 2/3 of the people in this country to accept the truth about satisfying infants' needs, we'll be on the road to making a tremendous difference in preventing our personal and social problems.
I want to come back to that question of social problems, but
Yeah.
but first, I'm going to be a parent in 5 months from when we're recording, probably 4 months from when this show comes out.
Yeah.
We're looking at home birth. We're looking at co-sleeping. We're looking at a lot of the things you're talking about. And I'm wondering, trauma is obviously something we want to avoid. Sure. What other things should we as parents be looking at or going towards? It sounds like the opposite of trauma would be getting your child's needs met. Is that an accurate description of what we should be going towards instead, is understanding the child's needs and trying to meet them? Are there other things that we should look at to make sure that our child's needs are met? What is it that we should be doing as parents to ensure that we're not contributing to this particular cycle of trauma?
Well, we should be aware of not doing anything that disrupts the bond between the infant and the mother. We should be aware of, again, as you say, satisfying the needs, maintaining the connection, physical, emotional, and psychological, between the infant and the mother. Trust the infant to tell us what he or she needs or wants, and allow that to happen in a safe way. It's trying to recall here some of the other traumas. Okay. I think I mentioned non-maternal care. Too much non-maternal care is a disruption between the infant and the mother.
Meaning if the child's taken from the mother and cared for by someone else.
Right. And unfortunately, in this society, 55% of mothers of infants work outside the home. That's unheard of in other countries. And part of that problem is, again, here's the social or political aspect. Our national policy on maternal leave is 12 weeks of unpaid leave. That's our national policy. Some companies do better. That's our national policy, and even some states do better. In Europe, for example, European countries have between 1 and 3 years now of paid maternal leave.
That sounds nice.
It's so supportive of families, and so it makes a tremendous difference on the quality of the bond between the child and the mother, and they can still be financially supported. But here, corporate profit, unfortunately, has a lot more support than families do in some cases. Okay, and we may give lip service to helping out families, but what comes in some cases, when it comes down to financial support, we're not always there, and that's going to take some public protest and contact to get on that case to make an improvement, because we are suffering long term and widely. Both people in poverty and people doing well. It's something we really need to give a lot more attention to.
It sounds like what you're describing is a systemic issue, meaning
Yeah.
that it's not just one thing. The system we have is set up for a certain kind of value, which is, as a friend of mine likes to put it, we've detached our value from our values, meaning the value of money is, everyone says, oh, children are our future. We value children,
Yeah.
but our economic value and our definition of value there is very different from our stated personal values.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, we're talking about adult behavior and choices at this minute. And I want to be clear that I make distinct and important connections. Again, I'm teaching about the origins of our emotional and behavioral problems. So if we want to make really significant long-term changes, the origins go back to infancy. And so we have a repeating cycle here, that parents, for the most part, didn't get their early needs met. Okay, I'm saying today's parents, for the most part, didn't get their early needs met. And that contributes to a sense of alienation and disconnection, because if you're disconnected from, here it is, when you're disconnected from your mother, that's a foundation for our connections to all humanity. Okay, because the mother is our primary intimate relationship. And so again, when that gets disrupted, it disrupts our connection to humanity. So with that disruption to humanity, I'm saying there's a sense of alienation many people have from their connections with others. So with that sense of alienation, what's very common is a choice to conform without really doing your homework, without really considering other factors. We just tend to blindly conform. So, and of course, the area where we're talking about here, the conformity is to existing American cultural practices about how to care for infants and young children. So we pass on what was done to us to our own children, and then that repeats the cycle again, repeating the cycle to the next generation and the next generation. So again, it takes quite a bit of change in our awareness and consciousness to make the kind of choice that say your grandmother may not be happy with, or your friends may not approve of. But this is a very important lesson. Are you going to be true to yourself, or are you just simply going to copy what you see going on around you? Your integrity is on the line here. If you're aware that what you're doing might not be serving the best interests of your child, I mean, what is a higher value than the welfare of your child? There's another question to ask. And when you have the answer to that, what somebody else thinks or believes is lower down the totem pole, so to speak. Your child's welfare is the primary value.
I love that framing of it, because it takes it straight to the question of identity, of who you are and how important your children are and what your values are.